Good evening to you once more. Welcome to the program. Our sign language interpreter at the bottom end of your screen is Joyce Warimu. Thank you, Joyce. Now, we do start this coverage in Voi, where 6 people are nursing serious injuries after the bus they were traveling in rammed into a truck on the Nairobi-Mombasa highway. The bus was headed to Mombasa from Nairobi when the accident occurred. The Sunday morning accident also left 24 other passengers nursing minor injuries. Voi Sub-County Police Commander Benson Shari, while confirming the incident, said the casualties had since been transferred to the Moi County Referral Hospital. The 6, most of whom suffered broken ribs, heads and tissue injuries, may however be transferred to Mombasa for specialized treatment. Police have also launched a manhunt for 2 drivers who fled the scene after the accident. Mr. Shari further cautioned motorists to be vigilant on the road, announcing that officers have launched a crackdown on the motorists who will be found flouting road rules. To Kajiado County now, where the National Environment Management Authority has today summoned 9 flat owners in Kitengela, Kajiado County to appear at the authority's headquarters tomorrow. Now, this is after an inspection led by the Director General of the authority, Mamo Bimamo, who confirmed that the 9 flats along Balozi Road were found discharging raw sewage into the road. To the world of politics now, the BBI debacle continues to make political leaders scratch their heads as to when the report will be implemented. This even as the Deputy President continues to urge leaders to preach unity.
Na tumeweka kanisa letu hapa.
Deputy President William Ruto maintains he does not want to be the reason for another post-election violence in the country.
Wagalatia 6 na mstari wa 9 ambayo inasema pale mkipata nafasi watendee watu wote wema. Kwa hivyo mimi nataka nyinyi wanajeshi mtuombee sisi wote.
The DP has urged leaders to unite Kenyans and to deviate from divisive politics.
Muombe nchi yetu kuwe na amani, tupate baraka ya Mungu, ndio tuweze kutimiza mapenzi ya Mungu katika Kenya.
Na wamesema nyinyi si watu wa kujificha. Kama sisi si watu wa kujificha, na situtangaze. Namba yetu inajulikana. Na hiyo namba tunataka ionekane hapa kwa Deputy President 2022.
This comes even as Msambweni legislator Suleiman Dori has called on for a quick implementation of the Building Bridges Initiative report.
Tumeomba mambo ya BBI watu wajaketi chini tuone vipi tutasoma, lakini mimi nataka kuambia nyinyi watu wa Msambweni, sisi tutasapoti BBI. Mimi nawaambia kama kiongozi wenu tusapoti BBI. Lakini ikiwa kutakuwa na mambo mapendekezo mengine ya kuongeza muda ile na kuweka committee of experts, sisi huko hatuko.
The MP also opposed the polishing of the document through a 30-member committee of experts technical team that was appointed by President Uhuru Kenyatta and opposition chief Raila Amolo Odinga to traverse the country to collect, compile and analyze Kenyans' feedback on the Building Bridges Initiative report.
Hatutaki kila saa ni mambo ya siasa. Hatutaki. Wao wafanye siasa, sisi tunataka maendeleo.
You cannot renew the tenure of BBI to go and correct themselves. Report ya BBI imetoka, hawa waende nyumbani. Tulete watu wengine wale wataangalia kazi yao. Huwezi leta mtu ambaye ametengeneza BBI aendelee na kuangalia. Na alafu hiyo team ya experts wametoa 30 people. We want to see national balance. Hatuwezi weka watu 10 kutoka kabila moja.
Away from the BBI debacle, the government has warned residents of Laikipia County and its environs against encroaching the Marmanet forest. The forest, which is highly guarded by the Kenya prison wardens, was developed recently by the Ministry of Interior and Coordination under Dr. Fred Matiang'i in conjunction with other ministries as part of Greening Kenya initiative. Our reporter Jeff Khaemba with that story.
This is the Marmanet forest in Laikipia County. A forest prepared by the Ministry of the Interior and the Coordination and the Environment Ministry as part of the Greening Kenya initiative. After planting trees about 4 months ago, the government posted the Kenya Prison Service wardens to man the Marmanet forest. Kenya Prison's Deputy Chief Superintendent Eliud Opilo says the government has laid out proper procedures to protect the forest.
The total area that was allocated to Kenya Prison Service to assist in greening Kenya is about 150 acres. And initially we planted 120,000 seedlings, out of which a few died and out of which some are surviving. Kenya Prison Service is charged with the responsibility of doing daily maintenance and providing security in the allocated area.
Under the Greening Kenya campaign, the Ministries of the Interior, Public Works, Environment, and the UN Environment are part of the cause to restore Kenya's threatened water catchments. According to Opilo, depletion of the Marmanet forest before it was reclaimed by the government had caused water stress downstream, subjecting the areas to constant conflict, some instigated by the cattle rustlers over the resources.
So it's an issue of using the barazas, chiefs, talking to them, enlightening them. And at the end of the day, we are happy because gradually they are trying to appreciate what we are doing here. But we've encountered people who come with livestock to do grazing. We try and talk to them and remove them from the land.
The Kenya Prisons has about 10 million tree seedlings, with the 27 other stations expected to raise about 150 million seedlings in the next 2 years. The residents wanted to practice shamba system, citing alleged successes in other areas where the farmers were allocated an acre each to conserve.
Sema tumefurahia kwa sababu ya president yetu kusema tulime shamba system na hata tumelima shamba system, tumegaiwa mashamba, tumepanda miti, tunalimia miti na chakula yetu ile tunatoa, tunapeleka kwa barabara, tunausia huko, watoto yetu wanaendelea na masomo.
According to them, they have really benefited from one of the parts where they have been allowed to grow food crops.
Kwa sisi vile unatuona tumetoka kijiji ya Maina na vile tunafurahi ni vile watoto yetu wanashiba juu ya shamba system hii ya forest. Tunalimia miti, tunapanda na tunapata chakula huko ndani.
A Marmanet forest block was set aside as a water catchment in the year 1932, way earlier before the Abdiaziz, Samburu, Mau and the Mount Kenya blocks. The forest is an important water catchment and source of the 4 rivers that flow downstream to Lake Baringo, Lake Bogoria, and other national reserves.
With this kind of initiative, we believe that in due course, its contribution, remember Professor Wangari's mother, the late, the story of the bird, bit by bit.
Reporting for Ebru TV, I'm Jeff Khaemba.
To the coastal region now, where Governor Hassan Joho is yet to name a new team, creating anxiety within the administration. It's now 1 month and 2 weeks since the Mombasa County Cabinet was sent home following expiry of their contracts. The Cabinet was sent home on November 12th when the executive 2-year contracts ended. The Governor had promised to name a new team in quote-unquote 3 to 4 days.
Anxiety has gripped Mombasa County over a missing cabinet, heightened by the mass removal of 350 county inspectorate workers whose contracts expired on the same day. The civil society and residents urged Mombasa Governor Hassan Joho to expedite the selection process or return the old cabinet to office. Although aides claim there is no vacuum or cause for alarm, insiders assert that key decisions cannot be made for lack of substantive CECs to make them. There are reports that a forensic audit ordered by the governor is delaying the naming of the new cabinet as Joho intends to retain some CECs. But there are also claims the governor, who has been operating from outside his Mombasa office for most of his second term and has been on dozens of extended trips overseas, has not had adequate time and consultations to make his cabinet. Pwani University lecturer Hassan Mwakimako said the governor should have had a plan long before his executive contracts expired to avoid a crisis. Professor Mwakimako, however, said the delay could have been caused by the delicate balance of interests from various communities in the county. Meanwhile, the county is yet to renew or appoint new members to replace the 350 inspectorate staff whose tenure also ended mid-last month. Although county officials maintain that there was no crisis in the management of county affairs, the delay has sparked panic in the county workforce. Yesterday, Acting County Secretary Joab Tumbo said the county governor has a list of those to take the positions and will unveil the team soon. Mr. Tumbo said there is no crisis in the delivery of services at the county since CECs serve at the policy level while technical work is done by chief officers and the juniors. Reporting for Ebru TV, I'm Kaindo Stefano.
Thank you, Kaindo Stefano. Let's take a look at our weather now. The heavy rains continue to be witnessed in different parts of the country, with the Meteorological Department maintaining that the incoming days moderate rainfall is likely to be experienced in different counties. The department has urged that those traveling to drive with caution. According to the weatherman, moderate rainfall in the coming days will be experienced in counties of Nyeri, Makindu, Nairobi, Malindi, Kisii and Nairobi County during the day. During early morning, showers will be experienced in Kitui, Makindu, Voi, Mombasa, Malindi and Lamu. Other parts of the country will be sunny during this time. This will be accompanied by low temperatures of 11 to 25 degrees across the country. In the afternoon, there will be high temperatures, with rainfall hitting few parts of the country. At least 140 people have so far died in rain-related accidents. The government spokesperson, Cyrus Oguna, puts the death toll at 132, but 7 more people died after a building collapsed in Tasia Estate last week. Approximately 330,000 people are already adversely affected by the heavy rains, which began in October and intensified at the end of November. Floods and landslide have displaced 17,000 people from their homes and killed 132 since October, the government spokesperson told journalists in Nairobi. He said more than 11,000 livestock have been swept away, and undetermined acreage of farmlands have been submerged and crops destroyed. Abdiaziz, Hashim, Ebru TV. Now let's go back to the coastal region, where 10 ships are set to arrive at the port of Mombasa carrying motor vehicles in the next 11 days. The move is a reflection of a rush to beat the 8-year rule, which has been retained following lack of public participation in setting rule.
A high number of conventional vessels has been reflected in the Kenya Ports Authority list, where vehicles are commanding a sizable share of arrivals. One of the vessels, Katlia Ace, arrived in the country on December 18th. 5 vessels, namely Thruxton, Eurospirit, Galaxy Ace, Jolly Pella and Ho Osaka, are expected to dock on December 20th. Other vessels include Leo Leader, which is expected to arrive on December 22nd, Morning Pilot, expected to arrive on December 23rd, Morning Nini, expected to arrive in the port on December 27th, and Grand Diamond, which is expected in the country on December 28th. All these are carrying motor vehicles. According to Kenya Outer Bazaar Association Chairman John Kipchumba, importers and shipping lines are rushing 2012 units that are supposed to land in Mombasa by December 31st. He further noted that there is a rush to bring in the 2013 models before the onset of next year to capture the existing market that is looking forward to purchase units compliant with the rule that bars vehicles more than 8 years old from Kenya. December 31st has been marked as the last day for 2012 manufactured vehicles to be cleared into the country under the age limit rule, meaning importers only have 2 weeks left. car importers had on November 28th projected monthly imports could hit a high of 20,000 in December based on last-minute orders. Latest records show that compared to the average 3,000 to 4,000 units between January and March, December has traditionally attracted huge numbers of vehicles. The high numbers, however, come amid a slow uptake of used cars in the Kenyan market, blamed on low liquidity in the wake of tough economic times. In May 2019, the drive to push the second-hand car import age limit to 5 years will delay following lack of public participation in setting the rule. The ministry had set a cap to the age limit of imported cars' engine capacity of above 1,500 cc to 5 years from 80 years as directed in the draft National Automotive Policy. The country imports about 130,000 second-hand vehicles annually, with used cars enjoying 85% of market share, where an estimated 60 billion shillings is spent on these units annually. But Kenya still remains a large importer of both new and used cars, with the expenditure in road motor vehicles rising to 92.58 billion shillings in 2018. The port is expected to be busy in the next 1 or 2 weeks. Wanjiro Maina, Ebru TV.
Now, in the mood of the festive season, Nairobi County Women Representative Esther Passaris has made a clarion call to the national government to reclaim part of the idle land to build structures to accommodate the ballooning number of orphaned and street children. According to the legislator, lack of housing for needy children has contributed to infection, HIV, AIDS pandemic and hardships among them. Elsewhere, well-wishers in Nakuru County made several inroads donating foodstuffs and other items to needy families ahead of the Christmas celebration.
As Kenyans joined the rest of the world in marking Christmas festivity, Nairobi County Women Representative Esther Passaris took an offensive charm in the city by donating goodies to the orphan and the street children.
We usually have children who have been trafficked, sexual abuse, physical abuse, children whose parents are in prison, abandoned children, especially from the slums, Mukuru and others. So when you come like this and join us,
children whose majority were rescued over claims of trafficking had a reason to smile as they enjoyed and mingled with their leaders who dished out the goodies.
For us as Ngafs, so all these children who are our Kenyan children are going to benefit. I think we need to look at the law. We need to provide space. We're giving churches lots of land. I mean, the Catholic Church owns lots and lots of parcels of land in Nairobi, and some of it is just sitting idle.
The vocal Passaris call upon the government to allocate land at least to build the orphanages in order to cushion the ballooning number of the street children.
I think what we need to do is reclaim some of the land that has not been developed and put orphanages for children, for the old, because we're getting an aging population as well that don't have anyone to look after them.
Away from Nairobi, 400 needy families in Nakuru County also had a reason to smile after the well-wishers showered them with the goodies. The families drawn from Nakuru's downtown areas of Kiptembwa, Paroda, and Bondeni slum received food and foodstuff from 46 philanthropic families from Europe, sponsoring the education of the children from the families.
Mimi naitwa Esther Amboi. Kwa hivyo hata sisi tunafurahi, hata kama tukiseeka tunafurahi sana.
Jina anaitwa Sylvester Mkwambo. Ninashukuru sana sababu hii nchi imekuwa mzuri sasa hivi. Sio kama ile kitambo ilikuwa watu wa chini sana.
I'm the project manager, Live and Learn in Kenya International. Today we are feeding the children. At the same time, we are also feeding the parents because we have the early Christmas holiday presents.
Under the umbrella of Live and Learn, the organization observed that a considerable number of the low-income families in the area are unable to afford basic necessities, saying sustaining charitable programs will help in giving such families hope.
We have so many children and so many parents in the slums who cannot afford a meal on 25th as others will be celebrating. All other well-wishers, please help even your neighbor so that at least he or him, they can feel like other able children.
Kenya will be joining the world in marking Christmas festival, a very crucial event in Kenyan calendar. Last week, President Uhuru Kenyatta took an early celebration at State House where he hosted children from the humble backgrounds. The President and the First Lady interacted extensively and took questions from the children on a number of their subjects touching on their welfare. Reporting for Ebru TV, I'm Jeff Khaimba.
To Moyale County now, where Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority has issued a 21-day notice to retail stations in Moyale to comply with the energy regulations after an audit revealed non-compliance. In an audit conducted by Marsabit County security teams revealed that the stations were constructed without construction permits as required under Section 86 of the Petroleum Act 2019. The stations are alleged to be operating without proper permits and valid licenses. The authority has therefore given the station owners a 21-day notice to obtain relevant licenses and directed that the stations comply with the energy regulation standards and relevant provision of the Petroleum Act 2019. There was lots of posturing but little progress in the 2019 as the US and North Korea tried to convince the other side to take the first step in nuclear talks. Some fear the Korean peninsula could soon return to a state of major tension, as VOA's Bill Gallo reports.
2019 began with Kim Jong-un warning he may take a new way if the U.S. didn't soften its stance in nuclear talks. The world may soon find out just what that means. Talks broke down after Donald Trump walked away from a February summit with Kim in Hanoi.
They were willing to denuke a large portion of the areas that we wanted, but we couldn't give up all of the sanctions for that. We had to walk away from that.
Within weeks, North Korean rockets began flying, and kept flying. By some measures, 2019 was North Korea's busiest year ever for missile tests. Though Trump shrugged off the short-range launches, the talks never got back on track, even after a third Trump-Kim meeting at the demilitarized zone. In October, North Korea was the one to walk away from working-level talks, blaming the U.S.
The breakup of the negotiation without any outcome is totally due to the fact that the U.S. would not give up their old viewpoint and attitude.
Now, North Korea is giving signs it may conduct a long-range missile test and is warning on an almost daily basis about Kim's end-of-year deadline, which U.S. officials have ignored. Many fear Trump and Kim will soon return to exchanging threats of war instead of handshakes.
So if North Korea engage in provocations to the United States, it will only make Trump to rely on fire and fury, even for the purpose of his re-election.
Bong Young-shik is one of many analysts who's concerned things may get more tense, in part because North Korea believes it can influence Trump's re-election chances.
The North Koreans are thinking that the world revolves around North Korea. There is very unfortunate and gross miscalculation and misunderstanding by North Korea.
At least some of that perception may be driven by Trump, who has recently linked the two issues, despite polls suggesting foreign policy doesn't typically decide U.S. elections.
I would say North Korea is extremely low on the list of key issues that are determining the election and that will determine. It would take almost a war, really, for North Korea to have an impact on who the next American president is.
Analyst John Delury says there's a danger for miscalculation if North Korea thinks it can influence the vote.
Those political considerations won't be that significant, and say a provocation that they stage will have a conventional security or even military response, and they'll be surprised because they thought they were able to play U.S. domestic politics when in fact they're not. Everyone knows that the election's not about North Korea.
Nonetheless, North Korea appears to be hardening its stance, recently suggesting denuclearization is off the negotiating table. It's also threatened an ominous Christmas gift to the U.S. Because of comments like that, many fear that Fire and Fury Round 2 could be around the corner. Bill Gallo, VOA News, Seoul.
I'll be informing you what's happening in the world of sport, but let's take this small introduction. Now we do start with the Soya Awards. KCB Rugby Football Club tactician Curtis Olango will be hoping to break the duck in the upcoming Safaricom Sports Personality of the Year Awards Soya Coach of the Year category after making the shortlist severally. To make the top 5 shortlist, Olango guided KCB RFC to defending the Kenya Cup for a 3rd year in a row after beating Kabras 23-15 in the final. Olango, a serial nominee in the annual prestigious award, will square it out with Malkia Strikers tactician Paul Bitok, Harambee Starlets coach David Ouma, Kari Odhiambo of the Morans basketball team, and Vihiga Queens Alex Alumira. The awards will be returning to Mombasa County for the 2nd year running on January 24th, where Kenya's top athletes and officials will be feted for their exemplary performance in the eventful 2019 season.
Naftali Temo.
We also have the daughter here to collect the award. Thank you.
Here is the winner in the Community Hero of the Year category.
Well, to motorsport, despite regaining its global status in September, the fabled Safari Rally still retains a slot on the 2020 FIA African Rally Championship ARC, which revs off the Rally Bandama of Ivory Coast early next year. The Safari has been run as a round of ARC since 2003 after Kenya lost its global status. The 2020 ARC calendar was confirmed recently, retaining a 7-round championship following a World Motorsport Council converged in Paris, France during the 2019 Annual General Assembly to pass the regulations and regional calendars. 31 minutes past the hour. That brings us to the end of our bulletin this evening. We thank you so much for staying with us, especially during the whole year. We had a lot in store for you, and of course more will come in the coming next year. We have 9 days till the end of the year 2020. We usher in a new dawn. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim, and from the lovely team that has made a lovely production job so far, we thank you and good evening.